Welcome back to the 100K Pod, Season 3, Episode 11. Morgs' neck looks like a red rocket. Yeah, look at that thing. He got sizzled out in the sun today. Oh boy. More sunscreen on that thing than a Plasters radio. Jesus Christ.
That is so stiff. Jeff's just set the world record for wedges consumed in a fortnight, and we're talking about my redneck.
Hey, I was getting to Jeff. Right. Hey, Jeff, fresh off a Bali trip, which we were going to say, apparently the world record for wedges consumed in Bali. Jimmy Katut Everest. Welcome back, mate. Welcome back, Mr. Jimmy.
Hey, thank you very much. Thanks for having me, boys. It's good to be back. No joke this week, but of course, being to Bali, the best thing to do is to buy the boys a gift. So I bought the boys a gift. We're going to wear them on the pod. So we'll cut this a little, we'll cut it as we put it on. But
Back, boy.
I bought the boys a gift. You don't go to Bali without buying your mates a gift. So it's good to be back. It's good to be all kitted up. We got our official podcast singlets on. So the boys are happy. Lewis, how are you, mate? You are looking well.
These will be on the merch store tonight.
If you want one, they're 20 baht. No, what's it, rupee? It was 50,000 rupiah. I got morning price.
No, very good.
Oh, that's good.
Well
Lou,
done.
Lou, how was work?
Shit house.
Brilliant. All right, boys. Last week, 12 out of 22 legs. Unfortunately, we had some shockers. We had some good legs. Jimmy, good legs. So, Jimmy, bad legs.
Bad legs. Yeah, I went Chubb for 80 yards as my steak and eggs. I did it over FaceTime with Das, and it was no good. They just got pumped. They had to abandon the run, and I didn't think they would have to, but they did. And I had one other bad leg. I think I had Derrick Henry to score, and he didn't score last week, unfortunately. Lewis.
Did today, though, so cheers. Louis Goodlegs just had Giants plus 3.5, and that was it, Dars.
Dobie bad legs. Luke Kenneth, Morgan Walker had a million attempts at it. Couldn't get 60. Tyreek Hill didn't have 70 against the Bears. I thought he was going to go off. And Raiders money line. Fuck me against the Colts. They were so weak.
Weak as piss.
But Jimmy, good legs.
Yeah, I had a couple of good legs. I had Saquon to score, Nick Chubb to score, and Jonathan Taylor yards. I had a really good feeling about Jonathan Taylor, even though I was in Bali. Now that they've got an O-lineman as a head coach, I think they're going to finally start fucking running the ball on every down. So I'm right into Jonathan Taylor. He broke off for that 60-yard touchdown. He had 140 yards and a tud. So I reckon he's back. I actually don't think the Colts, under Matt Ryan, Jonathan Taylor, and Jeff Saturday, an offensive lineman, are going to be that bad to finish the year. So
don't have to be dead to be stiff. How about Frank Reich? Taylor looks like Taylor again. Ryan comes in as a 39-yard rush and they win. He's like, fuck.
That whole last drive was ridiculous.
Unbelievable. I just realised that I said my good legs, but bad legs. Had fucking plenty of them. Sanders anytime didn't hit. I had Juju for 40. He had about 33 in 3 minutes and then took an absolute lick of a lifetime. Was knocked out cold. I had Dallas money line. Those fraudulent Packers just somehow, and fraudulent Dallas. That was probably my fault for betting on them. And then you saw the story, Dallas. The Eagles commanders under 50.5, and we lost due to a lateral.
A backdoor cover.
That was
backdoor
gross.
to 50.5. So I'm going to be undering again.
Devontae Smith's little hands in the cold weather. That was dog's ass.
I had Tay Adams for 60. He's their best player, and he went well over that. Tua's line was 281.5 and he had 282.
Wow.
That was my steak and eggs. Jeez, they get that right. And Patty Mahomes, I said he'd go over 300, and I also said he could probably throw 4 touchdowns as he only scored 1 the week before, and he had 4. But we could only pick 1 leg from that game because we had multiples because you had Juju, and I think Nida had the over, which hit as well. So Patty Mahomes, 300 yards, that hit. So we still had some pretty good legs in there. Morgs, college football, 4 from 5, extremely stiff.
I was just going to quickly touch on it. We also had a world first, avoided steak and eggs, which was good to get away with a void. I had Allinger over, and then they started Ryan, but he was a shoo-in for 190 odd, which would have hit. College tips, I actually can't remember. Dust, how we go?
I do. We had 4 from 5. We were looking so. We had Georgia minus 15.5. We had Florida minus 8.5, which hit those 2 lines absolutely covered. We had LSU to win. We had Alabama that had a really good win, and then Oregon. We had them. We've faded Bo Nix twice, and the time that we back him, he fucking loses. Comes out of the game with 1 minute to go, 2 minutes to go. Backup comes in, turnover. Fucking field goal.
He's just haunting us at the moment. And Das, I've actually got some exciting news regards good legs, bad legs. Decided a world first here. I want to open up the phone lines because a lot of people have been messaging us on Instagram.
Yeah.
They've been talking about our good legs, bad legs. And I'm getting the lines are actually already lighting up. So Are you happy to take some calls?
Yeah.
Because I'm keen. So
is it for me or everyone?
No, so what I did is I put out a special Twitter and I said, if you want to critique us, because people keep messaging us, critiquing our good legs, bad legs.
Yeah.
So I said, well, don't send it here. Give us a phone call.
Yeah.
Say it out loud.
Yeah, and I'm getting the producers are letting me know it's absolutely flooding in, which is a better response than I thought. But I've got Tony from Templestowe here. So Tony, you're on the line.
Yeah, g'day boys, big fan of the show, mate. Yeah, been listening for about 24 months, mate. And look, mate, I thought it was a pretty good multi. Yeah, when me and the old man, well, my stepdad, he's a bit younger than me, which is a bit odd, but when we sat down and had a listen to the multi last week, we thought it was really cracker. And having a look at your legs, mate, you're a bit pretty stiff. I mean, yeah, Tyreek Hill, Vegas. Who would have thought that'd be such a train wreck? So. Yeah, nothing more to add from me, but I thought it was not a bad multi, lads. All the best.
No, good on.
Obviously, that's concern to me. Fuck off, Tone.
Good on you, Tone. Obviously on the East Link there.
Must be Tyreek Hill. Oh, would have gone over any other week, and the Raiders are cowards.
Yeah,
sorry,
right.
Tone.
So
enjoy your day.
I think I've got Dave here. Dave's in Parkdale.
Yeah, g'day, boss. Yeah, I mean,
This is Tony.
Raiders. What are you thinking about They're having the Raiders in a 100k multi. Please explain.
That was you, the Raiders.
Well, the Colts, they stink.
He must be
And
Tony.
we said that the Raiders had to win. They didn't. Fuck
That's
off,
Tony's
Dave.
brother, Dave. One of them was in Parkdale, one in Templestowe.
I've got Hayden here from Hurlingham Park. Which
This is the other brother.
That's a footy overload.
Yeah, g'day, boys. I just want to have a call up. Now, I've been a Vikings fan for over 44 years.
Jeez.
And my great uncle, he owned a sandwich shop on the corner there in Minneapolis.
Nice.
Obviously, yeah, whole family's American, just didn't get the accent. But yeah, I'm actually from Pennsylvania myself. But I just want to chew a little bit of a bone with Nida last week. You had the Bills -2.5. Now, I've been watching the Vikings pretty closely, as I always do. And
Of course.
I tell you what, to have a bet against the Vikings at home -2.5, yeah, I thought that was pretty suspect there from Twist. And love to hold you boys accountable. Big fan of the show, but I'd just love to hear your rationale on why we're backing the Bills, eating points at Vikings at a 7-1 Minnesota. So, yeah.
Nah, great call, that one.
The only thing is, I think that they actually were at the Bills.
It was at Buffalo.
They were at
but we
Buffalo.
didn't think Josh Allen was going to play, and he ended up playing.
That's right. So Haydos was half right.
Yeah.
That was
It
a good
wasn't
win.
about a bet from Nida, actually. It got lost in overtime. It lost in the last minute. I appreciate that from Haydos. I'll let the Twisted Truth know about that one, and he'll take that shit out. No, I can't her off.
I'll tell him to cut the lines. It was good to speak to some listeners.
Fantastic.
Nah, it was really good.
All right, boys, cracking on next, Jev. Really excited. We're finally fucking back. We
Yes.
can do it.
The 10K Punters Club.
Let's go.
Do we have a stinger there or?
Yeah.
Show.
10K Punters Club. 10K Punters Club.
10K Punters Club's back. It was our favourite thing to do in AFL season. We got 100 people sign up to the sports bet. We had $1,000 to try and make 10K. We lost twice by some of the stiffest legs. One was Chad Warner, one disposal, cost us 10K. One early
Clayton
on,
Oliver.
we took Pat Cripps to win the Brownlow at about round 8. And then that was the one Clayton Oliver had 29 touches, we needed him for 30. And then Cripps went on to win the Brownlow. And that was another one that lost by one possession.
Yeah, Petrarca missed by 2.
Yeah, Petrarca had that corner and was cooked.
Yeah, fucking hell. Jeez, we were close, weren't we, boys? But it's very exciting to bring it back for NFL. Obviously, the more people in, the less the odds have to be to win 10K, the more chance we are to winning.
We're going to do it.
We absolutely back ourselves with $1,000 to turn into $10,000. Right now, we're at about 15 people. I reckon we'll get to 50 easy by Sunday night, and then we'll put the multi on.
Easily get
Last
there.
I checked, it was actually 32. So
Oh, laughing.
like,
I'm
yeah.
going to make sure I get on. All right, boys. Let's crack into the games.
Let's go.
Here we go. This is why we're here. All right, Panthers, Ravens, Jev.
Yeah, I don't have a heap here. I'm not going to overthink it. I think Baltimore just win. I don't know. I'm looking at your notes, Morgs. Yeah, I reckon this is one of those ones. So it's Ravens -13.5. This feels like an under game. This feels like Ravens win about 27-6. which is 33. That's under 41.5, which is the under-over. And they cover and under. Feels like one of those games. I just like Ravens to win. They'll just beat Baker and the Panthers. They stink.
We know our rule. If there's more than a 9-point spread, darts, about 80% of the time the under hits. So use that. I'm looking at Deonta Foreman. 40 rushing yards. I think his line's going to be around 50, which is what PFF said. He averages the Panthers
probably be like 100.
Well, probably, but Panthers average 5.5 yards per play at the moment, so that's not too bad. His last 4, he's at 118. He had a week of 23 and then 130. So 3 times he's gone over 100. 15, 26, 31 attempts in his last 3. So he's getting the rock for 50 yards. I love Deonta.
I absolutely love that as well.
I love that. If they get the ball first, I love that to hit in the first quarter.
Yeah, absolutely.
If Baltimore get the ball first, obviously they won't have been in the run before halftime, but it could be hard for them. But yeah, I love that leg.
That's good. I'm not taking anything in that game, but I will be in the next game. Philly versus the Colts. Jeff, you got anything here?
What have I got? You go, Darts. You got legs.
Morgs, do you have one?
Nothing from me.
I'll actually be taking Jalen Hurts for a TD. Dallas Goddard, I'm pretty sure he's on the IR.
Yep.
Look, AJ Brown is questionable, so is Devontae Smith, but one of them will definitely play. But off a loss to Washington, I absolutely love Jalen to punch one in. This leg will hopefully be around probably $2.30, maybe even a little bit more. Love it. He punched one in last week, and he's had 7 on the season, so get ready to make it 8. So I love Jalen Hurts. Off a loss, he looked like he took it personally. I think he's going to want to carry the team, and he'll be punching one in.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the line for this game. The line's 6.5, and it's Colts at home, 6.5. I'm way leaning to giving the Colts extra points than the Eagles blowing them out. So, like, they got Matt Ryan back. They're under Jeff Saturday, as I said, who's an O-lineman. So they're going to run. Last week, Jonathan Taylor had 22 rushes, 147 yards, and a touchdown. That's who the Colts are. Yeah, that's right. That is 100% who the Colts are. I can see this, like, if they're going to lose, it's going to be under a touchdown. It's going to be under 8 points, I'd say. So I don't mind the Colts plus 6.5. I wouldn't mind pumping them up to about plus 9.5 at home. And I reckon this could be the quickest game in history because both teams will run. Yep. Just run. Won't be many points. They'll just both be pounding the ground. So I'm really leaning the Colts with the next few extra points. And Jonathan Taylor for some yards.
Just very quick as well, I don't think they like getting in those sort of games. You saw against the Texans the other week. Texans like to run the ball heaps, and they didn't really like that sort of game. They're just used to blowing teams out with the pass game. So it's going to be an interesting game. Actually, you've talked me into 8.5.
And on Monday night, the Commanders had 40 minutes of possession. The Eagles only had 20 minutes of possession. So they deprived them of possession. They made Jalen Hurts actually try and beat him, and he couldn't get it done. So
half of it's because they score so quick. Like, they just get on him. Right. The other team just run the rock. Their defense is going to get worn out. So I love that, Jeff. Next game, Jets and Pats. Divisional game. Interesting one.
It's a fucking hard one to bet on. So Bill Belichick is 1-7 against the spread after a bye at home.
Wow.
Heard that this week. I love the Jets with some extra points this week, but I'm going to stay away, I reckon. I can't see Zach Wilson dogging it and throwing 3 picks like he did last time against the Patriots. So I'm leaning Jets and Zach Wilson to be all right, but it's very hard to bet against the Patriots.
Yeah, no bets for me, but I reckon you're right, Jeff. I reckon we already had our chance to get the Wilson versus Belichick. I don't think that happens again. Yeah. Does.
No bets from me. Next game, Washington versus the Texans.
So the Texans are ranked 32nd against the run.
Yes.
Yep.
Saquon ran absolute riot against them last week. He had 35 rushes, 150 yards and a touchdown. So I'm looking at Brian Robinson to have at least 40, 50. But I'm also looking at Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, absolutely. He's back in.
He always gets his carries and he gets his yards. Robinson had 22 carries for 86 yards against the Eagles, and Gibson had 14 carries for 44 yards and a touchdown. I'm actually liking them both for like 40 and one of them for a tud. I can't tell you who for the tud, but I'll definitely be taking Gibson for some yards because he's the value now that he's RB2.
Is he not the luckiest man of all time? So JD McKissick got injured because we know they were a little bit off him. Earlier in the year, someone got shot. So his spot is down to injuries and someone being shot. But I'm looking at someone, Damian Pierce does. He's got 772 rushing yards on the season.
He's a stud.
I don't think he's been in the multi enough.
Dominating.
Unbelievable. So his last 2 weeks, 94, 139. He's had 20, 15, 27, 17 attempts the last month. So that's 4 weeks in a row with over 15 attempts. And I'm looking for probably 60 yards.
Yeah,
easy.
When we watched that Philly game, they said he was on track then for almost just under 1,600 yards, which is so many.
Unbelievable.
He runs fucking hard.
Full credit to him.
I love that they just keep pounding the rock as well. Next game, I won't be taking anything there, boys. The Saints and the Rams.
Nah, nothing for me.
Nah, nothing for me.
I'll be taking an under in this one, boys. Some sort of alternate under. So Saints and Rams, I think the line at the moment is minus 41.5. Look, our D's still okay. We still got some dogs on defense. They can still make plays. We have no idea whether John Wolford or Bryce Hopkins will be the quarterback. No Cooper Kupp, no run game. I'll take the under in this one. We're going to be turning the ball over. I think we can hold them to not getting too many points. So some sort of alternative, probably I might take under 50 at about $1.30.
What's the head-to-head on this? Like, no Cooper Kupp, no Matt Stafford.
We're paying like $2 something.
Oh, really?
Like $1.
Jeez, you got to lean Saints at home. No Cooper Kupp, no Matt Stafford.
I don't think we win this.
I love where you're coming from, though. It's one of those games that you watch the whole game and you kick yourself that you didn't have the under. Because you hear those quarterbacks. So I love that, Das.
Yeah, thank you, mate. Try to do the work there. All right, next game, Lions and the Giants. Jeffrey, who do you like, bud?
I love Saquon. I love the form he's in. He's leading the league in rushing, but also love Danny Dimes for a rushing game this game. I reckon we're going to run it all over
every
him.
game.
Yeah, I'm going to look heavy at Saquon and Danny Dimes rushing. But the Giants to win at home against Detroit is $1.63.
Yeah, fuck.
We're 7-2. I can get $1.30 for Giants plus 5.5 at home.
Yeah,
Give him 5.5 points at home against Detroit. $1.30. I reckon that will definitely be in the 100K multi. I reckon that's just juice. Yep. We're 7-2.
Yeah, I like the 5.5 leaning into my bet here. I like two bets here, both considering overs. So I like the first half over. It's only 22.5. So we know
over 22.5.
How many games that Lions have been involved in of high scoring games, and they score when it's scripted. And so do the Giants, I reckon, Jev.
Yep.
So I like the overs 44.5. So I'm going to tease that down to 36.5. I had a look. I could still get about $1.27.
Go over.
Yeah, over 36.5. $1.27. I actually couldn't believe that. So I don't know how I'm going to do that. Might have to be in a couple of personals, couple of piping got treble stars. I like the first half over 22.5, and then I'm going to alternate over 36 full match.
Let's go.
That's good. Thank you. With Saquon. That's a good little multi. I won't be taking anything in that one, boys. Next one, Bears and Falcons. Geez, there's one guy hot at the moment, Jev.
If you're going to talk about him, you can have him. How special is Justin Fields right now? So they've lost the last 2 weeks, 31-30 to the Lions and 35-32 to the Red Hot Dolphins. Fields has had 300 passing yards, 5 passing TDs, 325 rushing yards, and 3 rushing TDs.
Cooked.
Atlanta absolutely stink, and they stink at stopping the run, and they're injured on defense. I'm going to be leaning towards Fields yards, or I can get Chicago plus 9.5 at $1.33 at the Falcons. He's full of confidence, so yeah, I'll be leaning one of those ways.
I haven't got a bet here, Jeff, but I really liked, a couple of weeks ago you talked about Tyreek Hill, and you had him, I think, for $3 for about 140 yards or whatever.
Yes, yeah.
I reckon Justin Fields is due for one of those games. I like him for like a 300-yard game because that'd get you $4.55. So it's probably not a treble thing, but I just think he's going to keep rushing. Eventually, one of these games, it's going to click. He's going to have 25 from 35 and go for 300 yards because they're not expecting it.
Big, deep
and
shots, yeah.
We know the Falcons, they give up a heap of yards. I've had a number of bets this year betting just against the Falcons' pass defense. So maybe this is the week. I don't know, Dust.
Watch the Falcons-Titans last week, and the Falcons are so bad.
Watch this space.
They are so bad. But I won't be taking anything in that one, boys. Next one, Browns and Bills. Bit of an interesting game here. Jev.
Yeah, so I've done all these notes as if it was about to be played in the snow in Buffalo, and now it's been moved to Detroit. So it's in a stadium. It's, what did you say?
They were snoats.
Well done. Nah, you guys go and then come back to me.
Yeah, smart.
That is too funny.
Well, I'm actually going to go, Jeff, because you might need a little bit of snow after this, because you did owe me one of these world hottest chips.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Although we get to a Seahawks game or a Giants game to talk about.
What better way to bring it out than a Browns at Bills that moved to Detroit?
Yep.
Yeah, well done.
Just some crumbs there.
We're only into the crumbs.
Yeah, just into the crumbs. No bet from me here, Das. We'll watch Jeff erupt as he follows.
Bills and Browns, nothing from me, but it will be interesting to see if Josh Allen is playing, if he bounces back.
Yeah.
I need him in the fantasy.
Before I did this, I spoke to the Twisted Truth today. I spoke to Adam Knight, who was on the pod last week. He's not a happy man right now with the Bills. He promised me, he said, look for a Josh Allen, 400-yard, 4 passing touchdown under the roof in Detroit.
Yep.
So I reckon this is going to lean my steak and eggs. I'm going to either take Josh Allen passing yards or over 2.5 passing TDs. If I can get the TDs. I'm thinking Josh Allen under the roof. And then they play Thursday night against Detroit on Thanksgiving. So they're staying in Detroit. He could go for 1,000 yards and 10 tuds in about 5 days.
That's insane.
So, that's a look at my steak and eggs. I'll let these down.
All right, next game. Why you get stuck into those, Jev? Raiders and the Broncos. Is anyone taking anything in this one?
Yeah. I'm leaning under here, Das. Under 49.5. So this is my game from last week. It's the Eagles Commanders. They're a tad old, Jeff. So I reckon here, two teams very hard to watch. The offense that's very slow. Denver has the defense that'll stop the Raiders. I think that's I'm happy with. But I also reckon rather than Vegas having the defense that'll stop Denver, I think Denver have the offense that'll hit the under.
Yep.
I think great defense. They don't have enough to score. 49.5 I can get. I think it's about 45, 46. I won't hold you to that, but under 49.5 is the number I like, and I'll be hitting that harder than your mum's apron.
Jesus, don't hit my mum's apron. Hey, look, I reckon I've found me steak and eggs again. I've hit it most weeks, but geez, Jevy's hurting. Jevy, wrap your ears around this, pal. You're going to enjoy this. Tay Adams is over. I'll tell you what, this man, he's unbelievable. His last 2 weeks, 146 yards, 126 yards. I'll tell you what, he's so important to their team. He's literally their only target. All right, even though they've been so shit, divisional games against the Broncos boys, I absolutely fucking love this over. I said last week they had to win. They didn't. Jevy needs a glass of water. He will hit this week. I'm telling you, he's going to hit the over. Tay Adams over. Look for that, $1.88. I reckon he's the line. He's averaging 81 in a bit of game, so I'll be taking that over.
You've been all over it.
Thank you, mate. Next game, Jev, he's sucking down some milk.
What is this fucking show?
Come on. Who's listening? Hey, I've got a couple of really good legs for you guys coming up. Jev, do you have anything Cowboys-Vikings?
Yeah. I'm just getting... I've got some callers on the line. Cowboys Vikings. No, I'm staying away from this game. Cowboys cost me last week. At what point can you trust the Cowboys? Never.
No, you can't. Jeff, I'll go a leg, then I'll give you one. All right. If you combine, boys, a little bit of a sort of a who am I, but if you could combine peak Mike Tyson, Tiger Woods, and Michael Phelps, what do you get?
Foot long from Subway.
1 p.m. Arvo Kirk, boys. This is peak human performance. Kirk 225. Say it with me, boys. Kirk 225. Jevy, say it with you, Mike. Say it with me. Kirk 225. Dallas coming off, mate, I'll tell you what, they're coming up against Arvo Kirk, MVP. If they just did the MVP rankings
in the afternoon,
easy. Kirk, sign me up. 225 yards. He's going to fucking demolish the Cowboys. Jeff, do you got a leg for me?
Yeah. Yes, I do. They are so fucking hot, though. Just spread those crumbs at the bottom. Right. The 8-1 Vikings, Morgs.
Yep.
They're plus 1.5 at home.
I know, I don't get it.
Dallas are going to Minnesota and getting minus 1.5 points after they've just played in Green Bay in an emotional overtime loss on Sunday night. I can get plus 8.5 at $1.24 for the Vikings at home.
That's incredible.
We'll be eating that up. And then teams have learned that you can run on the Cowboys. Teams are running straight at Micah Parsons. Oh. They've pushed him back to linebacker. He's not rushing the edge anymore because teams run straight at him because he can't stop the run. Dalvin Cook is averaging 92 yards per game and a touchdown in his last 3 games. The Packers rushed for 200 yards on them last week.
Yep. Jones
and Dillon just rushed all over him. I can see Cook's backup, Madison, getting involved as well. Look out for 25 yards for him.
Like it.
But I'm 100% going to take Dalvin Cook for some yards, and I'm going to take that plus 8.5 for the Vikings at home. I don't think the Cowboys are good enough to be favourites at Minnesota.
The only thing I can think of is Jefferson is questionable.
Yes.
But I just don't ever think that we've seen Vegas do their odds on a questionable. The only thing is, though, if you say Jefferson is out, you probably think differently about that line. So that's the interesting one.
And doesn't it feel like it could be a Thielen game or a Hawkinson game?
100%.
A Thielen touchdown game.
Thielen had 7 games in a row 2 years ago where he had 100 yards.
Thielen himself.
That's fucked. Hey, boys, I've got another leg for you. CD Lamb for 50-plus yards. Did you see him last week, boys?
Like it.
Golly! This man was playing like he was possessed. He had 11 catches, 150 yards, 2 tuds. Vikings ranked 30th against wide receivers. Okay. So I like him to finally get in. He's actually having a good season, boys. He's been very consistent, averaging 78 yards per game. So I like him for around 50. Hopefully that's around $1.25, $1.30. And also Tony Pollard, boys, for 50-plus yards.
Stud.
He's my guy. Last 2 weeks since he's been RB1, 131 yards, 3 tuds, 115 yards, 1 tud. As RB1, love him 50 yards. He's super explosive. If he does get it when he runs outside the numbers, he could get this in about 2 or 3 plays. Love him. Tony Pollard, CD Lamb, Arvo Kirk. Say with me, Kirk, 225. Vikings plus 8.5. And also Dalvin Cook for some yards.
Probably 60, maybe 70.
This same game is going to be fucking...
Well, that's a 5-leg honeypot.
And Madison 25. Potentially. That'll be the value.
All right, boys. Next game. Bengals, Steelers.
Yeah, I went back and forth on this game. I'm going to leave it. I was looking at the Bengals, $1.50 for winning, off a bye. Burrow had 4 interceptions and a fumble last time he played the Steelers. But then TJ Watt's playing. He's the one that fucking caused half of them. I'm probably going to stay away from this one, I reckon. Lou, you?
Yeah, I want to go back to my man Joe Burrow. I have not bet on him enough, Das, this year. He's gone under 200 once all year. He's at 199 that week. So he's only fucking done it 338 last time they played the Steelers, 53 attempts passing. So that's a fuckload of attempts. So I'll be looking, I don't know what if I'll think of his line or maybe a 250, but I'll be all over Joey Burrow against the Steelers, and they suck.
Well, if none of us are taking a league, you can take like a touchdown thing.
Yeah, well, if it's 1.5, I'll be jumping all over it like your mum's apron. But if I can't, it's probably 250, 275.
Is Jamar Chase playing?
No,
unsure.
Not ready yet, is he?
Not sure. I like T. Hig too.
Let's look at other weapons. Yeah, you love him. All right, boys. Next game, Chiefs and the Chargers. Jeffrey.
Yeah, so if the Chiefs win, they go 3 games up on the Chargers, and that's the division done. So I am actually leaning the Chargers line or plus extra points. They always play the Chiefs close. Herbert always plays well. But how special is Travis Kelce and how fucked is his form at the moment? Last 4, 81, $1, 106, 98, 108, averaging 98 over his last 4. 2 weeks ago, I got $1.24 for 50 yards. If I can get that again, I'll be fucking taking that. He's unbelievable, Travis Kelce.
Especially with Juju out with that league of a lifetime. He'll be out this week.
Fucking Juju.
Is that news? Maybe he's not out.
Oh,
He took a fucking lead.
yeah, he did take a lead. Boys, I'll be taking Patty Mahomes for 300 plus. I reckon this is my 5th week in a row. Averaging 331 yards per game. Is the MVP. Will win the MVP. Divisional game. Watch him show it, Jeff. As you did say, if they win this, they can pretty much lock it up. And he will want to smash Herbert. Because as soon as that first game when he came in, he actually ran him. And they actually pushed him really hard. So I reckon Mahomes is going to go fucking bananas in this game. Continue on, boys.
No, I've actually got one here, Das. I want to give a round of applause. You know I like to do this. I have a debutant for the first time ever in 100K. Welcome to Isaiah Pacheco. Is that you happy with that?
Pacheco, the running back?
Yes, the running back.
Yeah. He runs hard.
Last week, I think he's got the number 1 job. Last week, he had 16 carries for 87. Chargers are the 30th ranked run defense. And the Chiefs' offensive line is the 3rd best edge over the Chargers all week. So they've got the 3rd best matchup on their opposing defensive line, Das.
Yes.
So I'm going to be liking him for 40. I think his line's going to be around 50. So you know what that means. $1.60.
Hey, that's a good leg.
Yes.
Well,
Jeez, this is going to be a good little same game. And boys, final game, divisional game, 49ers Cardinals. They're going to fucking pump them. Jeff, do you like anyone?
If the quarterback could be Kyler, Colt, Usain Bolt, or your mum's Colt, I'll be taking San Fran to win at $1.26. The Cardinals stink.
They do.
They fucking stink.
Like your mum's Colt.
Jesus.
Leave my mum's cold out of this.
What's the funniest smelling thing?
An anchovies cult.
Last week, so Elijah Mitchell came back from injury last week. He had 18 carries for 89 yards, and McCaffrey had 14 carries. So I'm going to def be looking in the forward in Elijah Mitchell for 50 yards rushing market. I don't know what it's going to be, but if he gets 18 carries again, especially against this crappy Cardinal side, he'll get 50 yards for sure.
Yep.
And CMC's a stud, but he gets injury prone, so they got to preserve him for the end of the year. So I'm going to be on the workhorse.
Well, I'm down for today because I had a bet that defs wouldn't be used on the show today, and
I didn't write definitely in my notes, did I?
So that's okay. I'm a loser. Jimmy G, 200 yards. Garoppolo's averaging 8.5 yards per attempt. That's fucking much higher than I think you'd understand. 49ers face the Cardinals, who allow the 7th most fantasy points to quarterbacks this season. Now, I know fantasy points isn't everything, but it is when you're having a bet. So I'm just going to be looking for 225, 200. Don't know what I'll get, but I'll tell you what that means. $1.60.
Hey, that's a good looking leg. All right, boys, those are all the legs. I fucking love this, and I really think we're going to anchor into that Cowboys-Vikings game because that looks fucking tremendous.
Fucking oath.
Aaron Tremendous.
I wish you didn't sneeze into the mic. I've got one for you, boys.
Fuck off.
Who says no? Raiders, Green Bay, direct swap quarterbacks at the end of the season. Aaron Rodgers goes to the Raiders on a 1-year deal, 50 mil, gets back with Devontae Adams, helps that franchise become better. Derek Carr gets out of Vegas, goes to Green Bay, has a good contract, probably 5 years quarterback. They draft another one, and they sort of start rebuilding their franchise.
I cannot see it happening, but I absolutely adore the question. And I don't think either team says no, really.
I love it.
Probably the Raiders. I think they can get better than Rodgers. Not as in a better quarterback, but a better deal. Thoughts?
Nah, I'm all in on it. I don't want anything.
I love it, Jeff.
And then one other one. I'll give you a little tip.
Here we go.
If OBJ signs at San Fran, I know they're about 5th on the list.
That'd be fucked.
they will have Tom Brady at quarterback next season.
Wow.
I bet you.
I like it.
I already reckon he's going to play for San Fran next year. Tom Brady will be San Francisco's quarterback next year. And I'll tell you how you'll know it's a lock if OBJ signs for them.
That's the most insane.
I hope OBJ honestly just keeps signing 1 year deals and whoever's contending.
Gunfire.
Fuck, that's good. All right, boys, it's been a fucking hell of a production. Morgs, the callers were fantastic. I can't wait for them next week.
Well, I'll just make sure it's a little shorter next week.
No, I enjoyed it.
Not that I need control over the callers.
Mate, if people don't like it, they can fast forward.
That's right.
Your new clothes, boys, you happy with them?
Yeah, no, I am. I wish it was, I'm not non-binary.
Don't have to fast forward something you're not watching either.
But $20 is $20.
Sunglasses look good. Hey, thanks, fellas.
Read the multi. Oh, we don't have the multi.
Fuck, mate.
College tips. We do have them out. UCLA versus USC. I'm a UCLA
monster game, everyone, on Sunday. I don't care what you're doing. Get your phones out. If you're at a wedding, a funeral, it's all right. Get your phone out. Make sure you're watching because we're looking for the over. What are we looking for, boys? The over in UCLA USC. Absolutely love it. Trojans by 5.
Giants beat Detroit easily.
Chili, baby back ribs.
Rebs.